I'd live my life for this moment.
We as athletes breathe every breath of our careers for nights like WrestleMania.
This is the culmination of everything I've ever worked for.
WrestleMania is called the granddaddy of them all, and you stand on the grandest stage of them all.
I've been waiting for this my whole life.
There's really that X factor and intangible I can't explain. You just have to feel it.
WrestleMania is the chance to live forever.
WrestleMania, it's fever, man.
WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of professional wrestling.
It's the World Series of Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Olympic Games, the gold
Yeah,
medal
we're
match,
calling
the
back. All
tournament
right,
of all tournaments.
we just started the show.
I'm playing wrestling myself. What a, look at that. It costs on candy camera.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Happy post-Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Pre-Hanukkah, pre-Christmas. And yeah, we are back for episode 44. It's been a while, but we've got WrestleMania 19 in the background. Charles is playing, I'm assuming, WWE 2K19?
18.
18. 2K18.
18.
All right. Definitely not 20. Definitely not 20.
Definitely not 20.
And,
they're trying. They're trying.
And, of course, what are you doing, Andrew? What are you doing back there? I have no idea. Yeah.
Just surfing the web.
Just surfing the
Pulling
web.
up data and everything.
Okay. Alrighty. So, games on for tonight. So we've got NBA games. There's a ton of games for the NBA tonight. There's 10 games. There's only 4 NHL games. And college basketball, of course, as always. There's a ton of games for that. And past week in the NFL and college football, especially now that conference championships are coming up and we'll have the bowl game determinations. And yeah, as far as that's concerned, guys, what was your favorite dish or meal during Thanksgiving, just to start out? If you had to have, I mean, out of all the things that you had this year at the very least, what was the thing that you're like, yes?
Man, this kind of segues early to what me and Andrew were talking about. We're waiting for you.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, well, a little bit. It was a question I would have posted to everybody, but I'm gonna pose it now because it's kind of something I always anticipate for the holiday season. So we went to my sister's house with the in-laws and everything, and it's not the thing that they had, it was just something that they were lacking, and it's usually my favorite thing to have on any kind of holiday season. You guys, somewhere in the miscommunication, the emails might have been deleted. There might have been hidden messages with my top advisors or my family's top advisors, but there was a lacking in mashed potatoes.
What?
There was no mashed potatoes. I know.
R.I.P. headphone users. I screamed into the mic right there, but what?
There was empanadas. There was Spanish rice. There was, some stuffed, casseroles or whatever that I wouldn't touch because there was kale in it and broccoli is the devil's lettuce. But I look forward to every holiday season to have mashed potatoes. So, guys, That's usually my favorite. And it wasn't even there. It was deprived of me. It was deprived of me, like Santa trying to get cookies, but there was no milk. And someone gave me almond milk. Guys, almond milk ain't got no nipples. Are you getting milk out of it? I don't know. But let me ask you guys. Tell me what your favorite dish that you look forward to. And is it not un-American? Because I know Thanksgiving is predominantly, if not a American concept, but is it uncivilized to have mashed potatoes in a holiday season? Because I say yes. I say yes.
Okay. First off, Mikey, I'm sorry I screamed right into the mic, but Charles said something that's blasphemous for Thanksgiving and not having mashed potatoes. So thus the screaming, and I of course I said R.I.P. headphone users after that. But yeah, that is gosh, wow, because I really do look forward to the mashed potatoes, because especially with the cheese on top of it, with the cheese on top of it, with the melted cheese on top of it. I mean, dear Lord, what is that? I mean, honestly, I always get the turkey leg when I look forward to it, but I'm not crazy about it as I used to be when I was a kid. Okay, well, good evening, everybody, in Mikey's apartment. For as I screamed what, but I'm sure they all agree that no mashed potatoes at the Thanksgiving table is blasphemous. It is grounds for excommunication. And
Hey, Mikey, turn down your speaker for a second. I just realized I too did not have mashed potatoes at my Thanksgiving.
oh dear God! Oh my goodness gracious! All right, we're gonna have to get Congress on this one because the impeachment ceremony is definitely not the worst thing happening in America right now. That is wow. I mean, my Thanksgiving dinner table, what my sister prepared was we had the mashed potatoes, of course, the ham, the turkey made with good old propane and propane accessories. So Hank Hill would definitely approve. We had I don't have it, but it was there. It was the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top.
Those are the best.
We had
We had that. We had
okay.
that.
All right. We had our biscuits. We had all that type of stuff. But it's definitely blasphemous to not have mashed potatoes. I am so sorry you guys had a awful Thanksgiving and I guess you'll just have to come to my house next year.
It's a crime against humanity, but I'm glad to see that our neighbors.
You might have to go to you might have to go to KFC. You might have to go to KFC and they're selling chicken skins now without the chicken. So
I will make mashed potatoes great again, gentlemen.
Oh boy. All right. Okay. What's the most overrated Thanksgiving dish?
Okay, this is going to be a bit controversial, but if you let me explain, I will have a good explanation.
Floor is your counselor. Tell us.
Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Gotcha.
Here's why.
Okay. Go. I mean, it's not something I haven't heard already because I've heard people that aren't for it. But yeah, go ahead.
To paraphrase Chef Jose Andres, turkey is never good. It is always dry in some places. Anyone who says they have a fully juicy turkey is lying. That is correct. Again, if someone could invent a way for light meat to be juicy and satisfying as dark meat,
that's why I always get the leg.
Beautiful.
I always get the leg. You know, it's
unfortunately, in my family, they cut up the leg into little pieces. So there's not really any sort of concentration of dark meat.
I honestly, that's why I always get the leg because of that. I always thought that it was the tastiest part of the turkey itself.
It is.
And
even Andrew Ray, Binging with Babish, even though he's on a health food or trying to become healthier with his eating habits, even he admits dark meat is the best.
All right. As far as, I mean, gosh, I think you might be on to right with this because I really don't enjoy much of the rest of the turkey except for that. And then after that, I'll go after the ham.
And again, I love turkey. If turkey is good, it is fantastic. But only the dark meat is good, and there's not enough dark meat to go around, and everyone likes the dark meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I think it's overrated.
All right, how about you, Charles? Oh, but before we go, Charles, I have on the screen here the WWE superstars. I'm gonna put the computers to have at it. So just give us 3 computer characters to have in the background of the screen, since you are the wrestling guru here. Look at this star-studded lineup from way back in 2004, I guess.
Well, all right, so this is 2004. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3, and we'll do this prefaced as 3 current on the roster on the shows for WWE, because there are some guys who are still wrestling, but they're in different programs such as AEW and New Japan. So we're going to have Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Right. We're going to have Randy Orton.
Where is that? Where is he on this?
Right next to Batista, above Lance Storm, right next to Ric Flair on his left.
Alrighty.
All right, you don't know. Okay, so 2 steps above slot A. You see where slot A is? There you go. That's Randy Orton. And then the third one, you see there's some old timers. So, you know, we kind of make it, hey, you know what? But here's the thing. Technically, The Undertaker is the American Badass Undertaker, and the current Undertaker is not that. Yeah, Mike, yeah, I know, but here's the thing. I'm keeping it to my rule of currently wrestling. Druid, Devil with him. We'll go from there. So we're going to pick the man who is the current United States champion after a post-Survivor Series beatdown by Brock Lesnar great match, Rey Mysterio.
Okay,
Everybody
there he
knows
is.
Rey Mysterio.
All right.
Boyaka, boyaka.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, there we go. So, all right. So now we have that in the background. I'm sure Charles is giddy with that. So, all right. Sorry, I interrupted you with your most overrated Thanksgiving meal or dish.
You know, what's also overrated is Brock Lesnar's damn shoulders. The man is still a monster, but in the video game they make him look like a villain the Hulk fights halfway through. Jesus Christ. He's basically the Incredible Hulk without the green. Alright, so I would agree that the turkey can be, because at the end of the day, it's either you get soggy turkey that's good, or you get dry turkey. I propose, gentlemen, a different alternative for overrated Thanksgiving meal. And part of it is just because I don't necessarily like it, but the other part of it is because people are weird. Green bean casserole? Anybody?
I don't have it. We didn't have
I
it.
like green bean casserole.
Okay, well, you know, controversy is, you know, this forum is for controversy because controversy is for education. I want something that's going to make me hate myself and knowing that I'm getting something healthy on Thanksgiving. Because really, let's be honest, this is what Thanksgiving on a mantra is about the slaughter of, you know, Native Americans taking our land. And
Green bean casserole is a national treasure, according to Mikey.
So in so in reality, what happens is the way I view it, instead of that very dark, cynical thing, I like to say that Thanksgiving is the one time a year that I can actually get good quality cooking as a celebration outside of what I normally eat. Because guys, I don't cook at home. You know, I don't even know what I eat. I had Reese's peanut butter puff cereal for breakfast. I had a salsa burger from Wendy's. You know, there's not a conventional meal. So the fact that I have people who are slaving away to make me a home cooked meal makes me feel like a day of royalty. I don't contribute at all. I bring maybe a box of cookies and then alcohol, and that's about it. So, you know, if I'm a king sitting on my little throne of lies and entitlement, I want all the foods I get great, you know, enjoyment out of. And green bean casserole, all it kind of does is kind of help my colon flow and make my food smell weird like asparagus. It's not my thing. Also, here's another unpopular opinion. Gravy can really screw up a lot of stuff. That's just me saying. A little overrated because it's the wrong kind of gravy, man. You know.
Okay. All right, and desserts. Thanksgiving desserts. What is? I have one, but it's actually a specific one because I like apple pie. That's my favorite of the pies that are usually in Thanksgiving, which usually is the big three. It's apple, pecan, and pumpkin. I go for the apple. But my sister makes and it's I guess a Hispanic thing, or something we've infused into our Thanksgiving, is what?
Guava?
No, not flan. No, tres leches. Tres leches.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
My sister makes a
With some
homemade
coffee,
tres
does that
leches.
help?
No coffee whatsoever. Just inject that diabetes right into my veins. Nope. I go straight for that tres leches. I would just drink the milk, honestly, but I just eat it into this mush that just enters my mouth, and it's all I am absolutely gross with tres leches, but it's a fetish, so who cares? Anyways, what about you guys?
Is this what is overrated, or
No, what's the best one that you like? And hey, if you want to say which one you hate, go ahead as well.
I'd say there's a tie for me between sweet potato casserole and pumpkin pie.
Okay. All right. I
Don't
hate
get me
sweet
wrong,
potato stuff. I really
love
do.
me some apple pie. I love me some apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something to be said about, like, the only acceptable pie for Thanksgiving really is pumpkin.
Just for
Like,
the spirit of the
it's
season,
it's
that
the
type
one-
of thing.
it's the one time of year where pumpkin pie is an acceptable dish. Not all the time, don't get me wrong. But it's not like, I'm going to have some pumpkin pie for July 4th. Or Memorial Day, we're having some pumpkin pie. It's always apple pie, or cherry pie, or peach pie. This is the one time of year where pumpkin pie is like, yes, we will find some pumpkin pie at this meal.
Okay. Yes, I understand completely. All right. And you, Charles? Of all the pies?
My mother is allergic to pumpkins, so pumpkin pie was never it's always an option, but out of due respect, I don't salivate in front of her. It's not fair. It's like somebody who's allergic to chocolate and just eat like the whole cake in front of them. I try to hide it, but you have to get the right kind of pumpkin pie. I mean, maybe this isn't you guys, but I'm a big fan of cheesecake, and cheesecake I think is acceptable and kind of holiday desserts.
Yeah.
Then kind of that sweetness, whether it has that little strawberry.
Cheesecake is very versatile because they have so many different kinds.
Versatile. And I'm about that. I can live with that, and I think overrated. And it's just because I can honestly say I've only had like once or twice, and it's just pecan pie. Not my thing. Everybody has their stuff. I don't hate it per se. It's just out of all the pies I had, and this is a great debate: is cheesecake a pie? Cake? I don't know, but pecan's just on the back end of the game here for me.
Alrighty. Okay. So I guess that's our Thanksgiving opening since we missed last week, and but we've had our Thanksgiving and we had our Black Fridays, our Cyber Mondays, our Small Business Saturdays, and I guess we'll probably be saving some of that stuff for our non-sponsors of the week. All right, guys. I wanted to start with Andrew because you went to a very significant game about 2 weeks ago now, almost between
last Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, between our one of our alma maters and the University of Coral Gables. So I wanted you to talk about it last week, but we couldn't. But it's still fresh in my mind, and it's nice to poke fun at the Hurricanes, as I am a Seminoles fan, and we are hitting a very, very dark hole. We are somewhere underneath the Earth's core where we belong, and we shouldn't come.
The trail of fear, Francisco.
Well, no, don't. No, we're not Oklahoma fans. We don't make fun of that. All right. So yes. But go ahead, Andrew, because it was such a historic moment, and you were there for it. And of course, you were historic because it was the last time that Marlins Park will have natural grass at the stadium. So go ahead. You have the floor.
Well, I sent over some pictures to the Facebook chat if you want to put those on in the background.
I'll try my best, and hopefully the computer doesn't explode on me. But you can go ahead.
So I was covering the game for Reddit CFB. It was between Florida International University Panthers and the University of Miami Hurricanes. It's, for those who don't know, Marlins Park, which is located in Little Havana, down in Miami, is the former site of the Orange Bowl. Not the game, the actual stadium. Mm-hmm.
And the game used to be there too.
Correct. Well, right. But it hadn't been there for I think 10 years. It had been up at then Pro Player Stadium.
Right.
By the time that the stadium closed. So, and coincidentally enough, Butch Davis, who is the current head coach of FIU, was the head coach of Miami at the in I think from 95 to 2000, back when they played at the Orange Bowl. So there were a lot of very interesting storylines. Davis was playing his former team. Both teams were playing in a historic site, really. And it's, after this game, really, I think there's a potential rivalry between these two. I actually came up with the name Crusade for Miami-Dade for this.
Nice. I like it.
Because the thing is, even though it's called the University of Miami, it is not actually in Miami.
Right.
It is in Coral Gables. And actually, a lot of people around the FIU program were calling it, as Francisco alluded to, the University of Coral Gables all week. And it is technically true. FIU, which back in the 80s, there was a movement to potentially call them Miami State University, believe it or not. But it obviously never happened. But so this is a battle not for Miami, but for Miami-Dade. Hurricanes, the king of Dade. Not right now, they're not. Not right now, they're not.
The king of dead, most likely, not the king
Right.
of Dade. That's for sure.
So let me give a little bit of backstory on this rivalry. The teams first played in 2006 back at the Orange Bowl. And that game is yeah, so anyway, I'm not I have to look and see it, but it was a lot of fun. The press box was very nice. The stadium was very nice. It was kind of surreal being on the field. It's very pretty from the ground, and believe it or not, I've been to Marlins Park probably
a dozen times, probably.
half a dozen times, maybe more. In all of those visits, I've never once been to a game where the roof was open.
Ah.
The roof was open, and that back sliding glass wall was open.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go into the Clevelander, even though no one was there. It was closed for the most part, but very cool. Credential really allows you to go just about anywhere, which is really cool.
Nice.
I don't know. What would you like me to talk about? I mean, I could talk about.
I mean, I want.
Oh, I see on the screen right now the helmet. FIU had a special edition helmet for the game, which I thought was really cool. The helmet stripe, I don't know what they did with it, but it, depending on the angle and the light, it would change from gold to pink.
Nice. Oh, wow.
And then
Kind of like an iridescent type of effect.
basically, yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. Miami technically did something special with their helmets.
They did?
They went from a white face mask to a gray face mask, which is what they used to wear back in the early 1980s when they were playing at the Orange Bowl. So
Okay.
they got a new helmet. Like that is the
That is funny.
laziest thing you can do. That is the laziest possible thing you can do to change your helmet.
Oh, boy.
FIU went all out with it. It was really awesome.
Well, first, I guess I would like you to talk about the atmosphere, because from the highlights that I've seen, and it was a pro Hurricanes crowd, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, obviously, technically, there were FIU people there, but they were few and far between. It might as well have been a Miami home game at that point. When the players came out, it was extremely loud. By the way, I think the attendance at this one game probably greatly outclassed any Marlins game this season. I can almost guarantee it.
Okay. Yeah, probably all but one. One game. There was one game when the Marlins had close to 30K. One game in the past season. But yeah. All right. And like,
And then when FIU ran out of their Panther tunnel, the boos were so loud. It was unbelievable.
How many people were there, like attendance wise?
I've never been good at.
You would say
judging crowd
20K?
sizes.
20K probably?
I'd say probably at least 20,000.
Okay. Which yeah, it would have been a sold out FIU stadium if that was the case.
Right, which
all
is
right.
a-
And so when so FIU gets, let's say, maybe after the first well, no, actually no, when they went up 13-0, how did the atmosphere of the game change?
it got deadly quiet. You know the saying, the silence was deafening?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Miami fans really shut up.
Oh God. Oh, inject that into my veins.
The thing was, like, it was a very bad showing by Miami. Even though the score was pretty close in the grand scheme of things, it was like 31 to 24, I think it was.
Yeah, or 30-24, something like that. But I mean, it was garbage. I would say that's still kind of garbage time. They still had to do an onside kick to just try and get the ball at the possession at
They had
the
to do
end.
2 onside kicks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
30 to 24. 30 to
Yeah.
24.
30-24.
Yeah, Miami is a private school, very expensive, and as a result, they think they're hot shit.
Yes, indeed. That is very much so. There were people defending there were Hurricanes fans on Twitter like, oh, the FIU's all the people that couldn't get into Miami. Well, you guys, it's the same. It's either the same or even below the amount of quality in education. Our law school is a lot better than theirs, that's for sure. And I will say that every single day.
Damn right.
If until the day that I die. All right, the University of Miami just has the benefit of being here since 1925 or whatever. That's their only benefit, as far as anything else. But
They have name recognition.
yeah, but
That's it.
but as far as football is concerned, they've been dead since that game against Ohio State in 2003. That's how long that program has been dead. That is the day that program died. All right, the refs or what, the pass interference, whatever you want it, whatever excuse you want for them losing that game, their hearts were ripped out, and I don't know, it was shot with a silver bullet on that day, and it's never being revived ever again. They might have slivers, they might have blips where, hey, they have a 9-win season here, maybe a 10-win season there, every couple decades, I don't know, but they're not going to be hanging with all the big giant public schools for sure. They can't even afford it. They just got an indoor practice facility. They just got one. And they had to beg for money just to get that one from boosters and all kinds of things. It's just the way it is. The public universities have the benefit of larger classes and more donors and that type of stuff and more money pumping in from the state. Anyways.
Although, fun fact, UCF was the first school in the state to have an indoor practice facility.
Nice. Okay, so
Just thought I'd throw that
so
in.
13-0 after we saw, and of course we have the gifs of that one Hurricanes lineman that was dancing while they were down 13-0 coming out of halftime.
It was worse than that. It was a lot worse than that.
The dancing was worse than that?
Well, no. The outcome, I guess. The score does not indicate how bad they were beat. I forget. At one point, I think they were up by 16 points.
Yeah, it was 21.
Yeah, they were up by 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were up by 16 at one point. And they didn't score their first points until I think there was like a little under 2 minutes left in the third quarter when they kicked the field goal, which is freaking ridiculous.
So now that the game keeps moving forward into the second half. They're down at 16-3, and it wasn't it. And then you're getting towards the end of the game, and then FIU scores that last touchdown. Where and there's the one announcer, the color analyst for that night. He was saying they should have just downed the ball after they got the first down and ate the clock, but the guy went in and went for the touchdown anyways. But either way, it was a huge moment for FIU. That was basically the dagger, if you will, even though UM would score a touchdown to make it within a one-score game. But it's still kind of garbage time-ish. Because people were going, the FIU crowd was going nuts at that point. But what happened to the Hurricanes fans? Did people leave early? Because it seems like a ton of people left early.
Leaving early. UM fans were definitely leaving early. Not that many though.
Oh, lather me in that
it
sadness,
wasn't, totally
please.
thinned out. But they were still quite a few of them, and they were very loud. And actually, I'm looking at the box score right now. FIU was up 20 points at one point. The fourth quarter, they scored a touchdown to make it 23-3. So anyway, yeah. Now the thing is, Miami came on strong at the end. They scored 21 points. They scored 14 unanswered at one point. Garbage time. And they...
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't call it garbage time.
I'm just poking at the. I'm just poking at it, just making fun. I'm just saying it was garbage time.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone thought it was going to be garbage time, but credit to Miami, they did not give up.
The Hurricanes do belong in garbage time. You're right, Charles.
They did not give up. I mean, they brought it within 6 points twice. They scored a touchdown with 3:10 left in the fourth. They attempted an onside kick, but it was recovered by FIU, who went down the field and scored a touchdown, make it 30-17. And then they came back in under 2 minutes to score another touchdown. Miami did. They kicked another onside, but again was recovered by FIU. They kneeled it, and the game was over.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
it got very tense at the end there.
So, okay, so you're in the press box for all of this. So,
not all of it. I was down on the field. I was down on the field for most of the third quarter.
Okay.
That's kind of a little thing that I do. I'll spend the first half up in the press box. I'll go down to the field for at least a decent part of the third quarter. Try to get some on-field pictures, and then I'll go back up to the press box for the remainder. But one of my friends that I've made covering FIU this season, and for clarification, I don't actually cover FIU per se. I'm not Red CFB's FIU journalist, if you will, beat writer. But I live in Miami. They're in Miami.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm biased toward FIU or anything, that I cover them specifically. I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, I got credentialed to cover the Conference USA Championship this weekend. So, and FIU's not playing in it. It's going to be up in Boca. It's FAU against UAB. So, I'm more of the South Florida beat writer, if you will.
All right. So, now, what was the mood of the media personalities as the game is going on? Because I would assume that they all went into the game believing Miami would win the game and probably win it handily.
Right. The first big thing was Miami's first drive. because they won the coin toss and deferred to the second half. They were able to get FIU to punt on their first drive. Miami, 2 plays into their first drive, got intercepted, and the press box was like, "Whoa!" they were not expecting that, and they ended up scoring a field goal. Then FIU got them to punt. And then on FIU's next drive, they scored a touchdown. And all of a sudden, the press box is kind of, what is going on here? Maybe they have a chance. The big thing that really hurt Miami was they had 2 drives at the end of the first quarter, one in about the midway point of the second quarter, where they were not able to convert on 2 4th and 1s.
Right.
There was a lot of controversy with that, though.
I was going to ask you about that after that, but keep going.
FIU had just absolutely stopped them dead in their tracks. One of them was not just a 4th and 1, it was a 4th and 1 at the 1-yard line. And they weren't able to convert. They get 1 yard and you get a touchdown.
Right.
And the whole complexion of the game.
They went for a pass, right? Didn't they go for a pass for?
No.
Oh no, they were stopped. They were stopped in the run. That's right.
Quarterback.
Yes.
Tried to break it outside on the left, but.
Oh no! I was looking back at the play. He should have passed because there was a guy open on the right side of the end zone that they failed to see because they just went for the running play.
Right.
That was what I was thinking of.
It was a design quarterback run.
Right.
That wasn't a run pass option. That wasn't play action or anything. It was just the quarterback was designated to just run the thing. But FIU picked up on it and they stopped him. And I think he actually lost a yard or 2. And then on their next drive, they had another 4th and 1. It was a little bit further back in the field this time. It was on what was also in the red zone. It was on FIU's 18-yard line. And they still got stopped. And again, changed the whole complexion of the game.
Right.
They would score a field goal as a result of that with 2 seconds left. So that made the score 13-0 at the end of the second half, end of the first half.
Or 16-3,
So,
right? Wasn't it 16-3? With the field goal.
10, 13. No.
That's right. Yeah, they went into the half 13, I think.
Right. So the mood in the press box was, what is going on here? It was completely unexpected, even for the guys that cover FIU. Again, they don't write for FIU, but that they're kind of a beat writer for their organization. And no one was expecting what happened, not in the slightest. Same thing going into the third quarter. I mean, when Miami finally kicked a field goal, it was almost kind of like laughing a little bit because it was like nothing. Even when they scored, it was on they were in the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
They were at FIU's 5-yard line, and they still couldn't score a touchdown. So it was kind of almost like a laughter almost of they just couldn't believe what was going on, that Miami was sucking that bad. And let me say this. A lot of controversy, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But
I think I know what you're getting at, and I wanted to ask you about it because
let's get it over with.
Okay, so there was a massive complaint by a lot of Canes fans grasping at straws for excuses that FIU killed some of their drives by killing their momentum by what is the term is lobstering, or being a lobster, or what. Basically, a player fakes an injury in order to get an injury timeout without FIU wasting an actual timeout, and essentially stopping whatever momentum the Hurricanes were creating in their drives. And so it happened, like 4 times during the game. And a lot of Canes fans like, I'm going to stop respecting Butch Davis after this and that, even though they all secretly wish he was their coach. What say you? Was it that egregious? Did it really destroy the Canes' chances? Should they really be looking at that and think, that cost us the game? That's clearly what made us lose this game, and that's what they should say.
I mean, yes, I think, and everyone in the press box knew it, that these were not legitimate injuries. And again,
there was a guy laughing as it was happening, when he was being checked on. Like, it was, we all know, everybody knew,
right,
as you said.
Like, again, I say this all allegedly. I don't want to get myself in trouble with FIU because Davis categorically denies. So from a journalistic perspective, I have to take his word for it. But personally speaking, and don't get me wrong, I give benefit of the doubt to any guy that goes, but this was particularly bad. There were 2 of them, and they just both so happened to be on those 4th and 1 drives. It's definitely something's fishy going on, and it's not like he went down immediately. He went down after a few seconds. He was looking over at the sideline. He was like shrugging, putting his hands up. It definitely had the appearance that they were faking it. Mm-hmm. Which is unfortunate, but it's something that is not limited to FIU. A lot of teams do it. And what is that saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game. It's definitely a flaw in the rules because if a guy goes down and appears to be injured,
and it's a hard rule to kind of get a hold of, because who's to say whether a guy's in pain or not? Sometimes you can have a sharp pain that happens in your knee real quick, and then you stretch it out a little bit, and all of a sudden it's gone. That could happen. Or, It's really hard to gauge pain on another person.
Yeah,
although,
and like I said,
what FIU was doing was pretty, egregious.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And everyone in the press box was laughing when it happened. And yeah, that certainly killed their drives, I'll be completely honest. Mm-hmm. But that was not the sole reason that they lost the game. They got picked off 3 times. Actually 4, but one of them was brought back due to a holding call. They just
sucked.
Did not do anything right in the game.
All right.
Again, like I said, those killed their drives, but they still should have won.
Yeah.
But they didn't. FIU was the better team.
Now, as the game ends, what is the mood after that? From the fans, from the media, and even the players, obviously, and the coaches were glad, but right. Unless you were a Hurricanes fan. But
well, per my friend's suggestion, I wasn't even thinking of this, but he had this brilliant idea, and I just kind of slapped myself on the face and said, duh, why not? Because we're getting down to crunch time toward the end of the fourth quarter, and FIU's got a good chance at winning this. So he said, I'm thinking about going down onto the field, and I said, hell yeah, I'm doing that.
Right.
So I go down onto the field, and I was able to get some fantastic pictures and footage. Those guys, the fans, it was funny. Someone on Reddit asked me if fans stormed the field. I responded saying the opposite. The players stormed the stands.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't get all the photos that you sent me on here. I don't know why, I just can't. But you can send those to me later. I can get them later. I can post them on our Instagram page, on at Sports Goofs on our Instagram page. But sorry, keep going. Go ahead.
The for your perspective, the FIU fans congregated on. So how on the first baseline near right field.
Yeah, the field was oriented from home plate towards right field, basically down the first baseline.
So how the fence is low. On down the line until it takes like this huge sharp jump up.
Okay, so from home plate, and then the Marlins have it on the right field side towards the bullpen.
There's like the corner almost. It's near where that new freestanding bar is.
Yeah, the right field corner.
Right. That's where the FIU fans congregated after the game, and you just so loud. It was probably about as loud. Probably it felt as loud as how the Miami fans were at some points. But you just hear FIU, FIU, FIU. There's a player who holds up a whiteboard that says "Little Brother."
Yeah.
Which is a big thing. Miami thinks of FIU as Little Brother. You see like the upside down U's all over the place. You've got guys hugging. I love you, man. I'm so proud of you. It was a surreal moment. It was so cool to be there in the middle of it. And even more special because, just from a journalistic standpoint, it was so cool to be there.
This was, from a historic, it was a historic win. That was their first win against a Power 5 team.
Kind of. I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
They had a previous win in 2011 against Louisville, back when they were in the Big East.
Okay.
When they were an automatic qualifying program. This is during the BCS era. At that point, 6 conferences were Power 5s, quote unquote. They had to the major bowls, things like that. But then in 2014, once the college football playoff era began, then the Big East, now known as the American Athletic Conference, was relegated into the lower echelon, if you will.
Okay.
So technically, this was their first Power 5 win. But in reality, it was their second against a major program in that kind of upper echelon.
And this is, there were so many things at play with this victory. One, Butch Davis, he was their former coach, likely, and was the guy that recruited most of those guys that were on their last national championship team.
He might as well have been the head. He might as well have been the head coach. He left early.
Yeah, for the Cleveland Browns job.
Right. But he recruited that national championship team.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. Anyone would be delusional to tell you otherwise.
Basically, all Larry Coker had to do was just put it on autopilot.
More or less, yeah. Um, he set the foundation for I think they actually had 2 championships. No.
No, well, 2001,
No,
and then they
they-
lost in 2003 against Ohio State.
Right.
And then they died
He
after
laid
that.
the groundwork for that, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, and he made mention of it. He said, when he would drive down the 836 toward this game, it was weird for him to not see this old, dilapidated, rusting building. Which the Orange Bowl was in pretty bad shape by the time they tore it down in 2008.
Right.
But
I mean, the history of the
that-
site, because, I mean, even before there was a previous stadium there. I mean, that place has been the field for football in South Florida before even that building itself was constructed. So it's a historical place, probably, I mean, probably like a century's worth of history on that field, football history, even a little now, hopefully some baseball history. And there was a sliver of baseball history there as well, but it is the most sacred ground for sports in South Florida.
And when I was doing my research for Reddit for RCFB, there that I knew about that it happened, that it existed, that the thing that it happened, but I never realized. It occurred to me it happened at the Orange Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. There was the Hail Mary from Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
The Fumblerooski.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska's Fumblerooski. I'm pulling up the article right now. The Hail Flutie, they call it.
Yeah.
The Hail Flutie, the Fumblerooski, and then there were 16 national championship clinching games there.
Yeah.
Now, let me clarify that. When I say clinching, that means that even though the team may have lost, they still ended up getting voted as national championship by one of the major selectors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like no matter what happened, they were still going to be the national champion sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but there were still 16 games over the stadium's history that ended up being a championship clinching game. And even though the stadium closed in 2008, it stopped hosting bowl games in 1996 when the Orange Bowl moved up.
I think there was one season where they had one because something happened at Sun Life.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right, but that was also not a bowl. That was not a national championship.
Okay.
game.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But I mean that place. I mean the 72.
Sacred ground.
The 72 Dolphins played there. I mean Dan Marino played there. A lot of great NFL and college players played there on that site. For people down here, they're still sad that it's gone. That it's never been the same. That the Marlins don't belong there, and honestly, maybe they should probably switch stadiums. They should probably switch sites because the Marlins were more successful in their old stadium, and the Dolphins and Hurricanes were more successful in the old site. Maybe they should just switch buildings at this point. Maybe the magic will return for both of them. So
it was a lot of fun. I can't say enough. That was so
where
much fun.
does that rank in your all-time experiences at a sporting event? Like top 5
in person?
top 3, yeah, in person.
Let's see.
Because that's a pretty big one.
That's definitely in my top 5.
Okay.
For sure.
All right.
Off the top of my head, I can't make an actual ranking.
All right,
out of it,
but it's in your top
but-
5.
But like the 2017 War on I-4, that was definitely up there. 2017 American Athletic Conference championship game, that was up there. 2018 against Cincinnati, that's up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely in the top 5, no doubt about it.
All right.
Just as a journalist, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to be impartial, but come on.
I have a hard time. I have a hard time thinking that you could be completely impartial during that game. Like, you must have been yes,
I was good
like,
about it.
like,
I was really
like,
good about it.
like, you had the under the table, you have like the little fist pump as they score a touchdown. I was like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm always for the underdog, except when it's UCF or FIU, and then that all goes out the door, or any team that I root for. But there was a little something extra special about that one.
Especially against the Hurricanes. Especially against those fans.
I created that nickname Crusade for Miami-Dade. I was hoping in my heart of hearts that they would be able to pull off the win and be able to use that and just really hammer that home with the article. And by golly, they did it, and that was extra special.
All right. Oh, well, thank you, Andrew, for giving us your experience there. And then once again, on our Instagram page, we'll post the other photos that you took of that game. But we are at the halfway point, and that usually means, and it always means, that we get to one of our favorite segments here. It's a word from our non-sponsor, or people, places, things,
Can I start this week?
concepts. If you want, you can start. Go ahead.
This may be pretty obvious, but my non-sponsor of the week is FIU and Marlins Park.
Oh, both. There's a twofer.
Well, FIU for winning, which was amazing, and then Marlins Park. The staff was great there.
Yeah. That's our good old buddy Derek Jeter. Yeah, we're friends now. I mean, he's a friend of the show. He gave us all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was, the whole experience was amazing. I can't really say enough about it. It was just incredible, amazing, fantastic. I can't come up with enough superlatives about it.
I mean,
this is a real short one because there's not much more.
Well,
that
we could talk a little bit about the news of Marlins Park. Once again, you were there for the last official sporting event to have the real natural grass at Marlins Park. Funny enough, and during the Orange Bowl's era, they did have an artificial turf. During the 1972 Dolphins' perfect season, there was not a natural grass field when they did that. And I think sometime in the 80s they switched it back to grass. But the Marlins are going to go with the synthetic turf. They're going to bring in the fences, which hopefully will lead to more offense at Marlins Park, because it's been a primarily pitcher's park for a long time. So I posted on our group chat that Jeter's turning it into Yankee Stadium South, hopefully with a short porch in right field and nice good dimensions for us to make some more runs there. And Marlins Park is going to be hosting Super Bowl 54 opening night events. That's why some people have photos of the work that's going on right now, because we're getting in the run-up for the Super Bowl soon enough. And of course, South Florida, Miami is hosting it for the first time in a while. So that'll be exciting for us down here. We might be able to check out some stuff while they're down here. All right, so that's Marlins Park and of course FIU, specifically the entire school, not just the College of Law, but the entire school. What's your promo code?
Promo code is Little Brother.
Nice, that's a good one. That's a very good one. All right, I guess I'll go second here. And I had prefaced this a couple weeks ago, and I'm gonna do it finally here. My non-sponsor is Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I said I said last time I would do this because I knew I would get hooked, and guys, I have been hooked by the Pokemon bug once more. I got hooked 10 years ago when I hadn't played for a long time in a while, and it's been close to a decade since I last played Pokemon in any sort of form or fashion outside of Pokemon Go and some of the mobile stuff, but nothing serious from the mainline games. But this time, I could not help it. Is the first mainline game on a hybrid console here with the Nintendo Switch. It's both, but I'm having a blast. I know it doesn't have all of the Pokemon in National Pokédex. There's only 400 in this game. I still believe that they're gonna expand with some sort of DLC or something like that. That'll quell everybody down from the anger of that. But either way, a lot of the Pokemon are new to me. I'm having fun with it. I'm close to 3/4 of the Pokédex done, and my goal is to get all 400, as my goal has always been to catch them all. And there's the competitive scene, which I have not delved into. I haven't gone into the online battling yet. I've just been preoccupied with catching every single one of those little things, and it's addicting. It is addicting. I thought that, okay, I'm an adult, or at least a man-child, and I have all these other responsibilities, and I have to pay rent and taxes and all kinds of BS. But I got hooked. I remember I had a session, and you can see it on my own personal YouTube channel. I had a session that I was up for 6 hours and I went to sleep like at 4 a.m. Playing with my buddy Michael online. I got hooked. It is like a drug. Eventually, I'll wean off of it. Especially after I get the 400. I'll wean off of it. But for now, the game is addicting. The storyline it's okay. I still wish it was a little more mature. I actually think Pokemon Yellow, Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, Crystal, I still think those games were more mature than this one. At least the theme of the games, because I felt this one was a little too vanilla for me, which is surprising because the games came out way back when, and we were all like 8, 9, 10 years old, and sheesh. But it's a good game. The new stuff, the new mechanics, the Dynamaxing didn't really affect the game too much, so I like that. And it's fun. It's Pokemon. It's fun. Don't be so preoccupied with all the complaints that people are making. Those are just people that love just to complain about everything, all right? Baby Yoda cannot be caught in the game, so unfortunately that's not a thing that you can do. But other than that, you can still get Pikachu and all your favorite boys there. So promo code is stop complaining, because it's good. Alrighty, all right, Charles. You're sitting in the back there. What you got for us this week? If he's back there, Charles, are you there? Senor Charles? Is he away? I can't. If he's there, I can't hear you, dude.
I can't hear him.
Okay. Well, if we can't hear him, we might have to loop back around.
We can't hear you, Charles.
You're gonna have to hang up and call back in again. All right. Just get out of the thing and then come back, and we'll probably hear you then. All right. We'll wait for him to do that. I guess we can move on to another topic here. We can go to one of the interesting topics I want to talk about. And we're going to have to go to one of our favorite websites, and it's good old sportslogos.net from our logo file, our buddy Chris Creamer. As Charles, are you back there, dude? I think he hung up on us. He'll be back. He'll be back. All right, Andrew. Sports logo stuff. I mean, we can talk about this all day, but there's some new, especially Major League Baseball. Charles, can you hear us? He's back. All right, so we can loop back to our non-sponsors here. All right, Charles.
First off, I apologize. I mean, I thought I was on, but you couldn't hear me. So a lot of things have happened, with Thanksgiving. The bigger holiday that occurred was Black Friday, because, we talk about, we mentioned earlier about Thanksgiving being a sense of what the self-indulgence could be of, entitlement of food. Well, Black Friday is an entitlement of my capitalistic tendency to buy everything I want at a discounted price because I hate playing full price because I'm, poor. And Francisco mentioned about, being a man-child. Well, I'm basically a man-child in the embodiment of a baby spirit because everybody loves the Baby Yoda stuff because we love nostalgia. I love something different. Guys, I thought about it. I might have mentioned it prior, but I'm going to go back into it again because I finally did purchase it amongst the many games that I bought on Black Friday, such as the Maddens and the Resident Evil 2s, and then, Outer Worlds. The biggest joy that I had, gentlemen, was going to GameStop. And I had to go to a couple of different stores and run out of it, so I was shocked. But going to GameStop and getting for $19.99, not one but 2 games in a complete package for my Nintendo Switch, and that's the Disney Classics.
Oh, that's a surprise.
When I went, it was screaming to me, I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. And I'm like, yes, I'm ready for this magic carpet ride. And I was ready, man. I grew up in the generation of Genesis, SNES, NES. I love platformers. I hate kind of a little bit of modern day platformers because I'm not as good as I used to be. And man, if I have to go back into a time machine and find 6-year-old Charles who was playing this stuff on his Genesis, I could give him a fist bump because the games change a little bit. Not only do you get 2 games, but also you get the different variations. With Aladdin, which I beat last night, you have the S version, you have the Final Cut version, you have the Japanese version, you get 2 handheld versions, one in black and white, one in color. Same thing kind of applies to Lion King. But you know what the biggest game changer is, gentlemen? You can save in these games. Back then, 1995, 96, you could not save. You die after a couple times. You don't even go back to the beginning of the level. You go back to the beginning of the game. Do you know how many times I had to do Agrabah Market? Do you know how many times I had to do the Cave of Wonders and escaping? That night, and I tell my family, hey guys, come here, come look at this. And they see me riding on a magic carpet ride, trying to save my life. And muscle memory is a real thing because, guys, for the first time, my greatest accomplishment, more important than passing law school, more important than passing the bar exam, more important than getting a job and becoming a real boy, more important than me buying my WWE championships last couple years with big boy money. I went through the Cave of Wonders level where you're flying on the carpet at breakneck speed, and I did not die a single time. First try, so muscle memory is real. The spirit of 6-year-old Charles, it was like the movie Looper or any other time. No, it's even that. Marty McFly's in this with his pumped up kicks, his hoverboard, and his cool little vest and says, hey, I got you. And I didn't die a single time. I beat it last night. Beat your fire room. I'm like, I know, I gotta do something for the apples. So I beat it. Tomorrow night over the weekend, I'm gonna attack Lion King. Because you know what? I just can't wait to be king, gentlemen. So that is my non-sponsor week. Disney's Sega, or it's not Sega, because I guess, but Disney's Classics featuring Aladdin and Lion King. Promo code, muscle memory.
Nice. Oh boy. Yeah, that Aladdin game is freaking brutal with that. That escape level, it's infamous. It's infamous. Is there there's a rewind feature in that game, right?
There is, but you know what? Mama didn't raise no punk. I did save a lot, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I don't think I have the patience. Yeah. So here's the thing, real quickly. Now that you're able to save that game, which probably took like 6 or 7 or 8 hours to beat, only took me about 2.5.
Wow.
What have I done? This is the future.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of the re-releases of all these games. I've still yet to go through that Super Nintendo library that Nintendo gave us, but that's a good one. It's a good one. It takes me back to when I owned a Sega Genesis. I was a Sega Genesis kid way back when. Of course, my love of the Hedgehog is both well known and inappropriate. Anyways, guys, I was trying to get us back here on the... Whoa, everything disappeared on me there. I guess the logo file look here. And I wanted to go through... And I have not seen them yet. I have not seen them. The XFL has popped out with their uniforms. I have not seen them. I wanted to get my own genuine reaction for this show here, and I don't know if you guys have seen them, but if not, and if so, or whatever, we're gonna go through them. We're gonna go through Charles's good buddy Vince McMahon's new baby, or old baby that's returning to be new. I don't know, Baby Yoda, Vince McMahon's Baby Yoda, the XFL. So let's hopefully that loads for us very soon, because I want it to load for us. Come on, Chris Creamer, come on, give it to us, give us the cream. All right. So eight XFL teams. We had gone through them previously, and they have come out with their uniforms. So hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised. Let's see. Here's our first one. The DC Defenders. So I don't know if you guys have seen them, but if not, they're on the screen here. Let's see. Completely red and white with a thunderbolt pattern on the right pant in red and white. They kind of look like the Detroit Red Wings in a way. Actually, kind of look like the Detroit Red Wings mixed with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's which is kind of what the Lightning uniforms are at this point. They're Red Wings jerseys, but in blue. Any thoughts on this one? This first one here, DC Defenders? Yeah?
Honestly, I think all of them are extremely bland and unoriginal.
I have not seen the rest, so let's keep...
It's the
same template?
It's the same, just different colors.
Okay, well, I'll try and go through this a little faster here, if that's the case. They've got the fenders there, and their font, and their color scheme. They're nothing too flashy, and they've got their white variants of the same thing. Let's keep moving.
They look like the Kansas City Chiefs. Each one of them has like a build-up of a pro and college football. So if you're on the Defenders, the white unis to me looks like Bama. The all reds look like the Chiefs to me.
Dallas Renegades. And if you guys can, one of you guys can lower your speaker there, because I can hear myself on the reverb. Oh gosh, this is not loading fast enough for me. Okay, now it's gone. It's gone for me. Gosh darn it, this is not going fast enough. You know what? If it's not going fast enough, we're going to screw it, and we're going to keep moving on to our next topic here. We can get back to it some other time. All right. NHL news. I wanted to get through this, and this is partly our Learner Goof section as well. So Charles, get your pen and paper ready, as I'm about to school you on some hockey knowledge.
All right.
All right. A few weeks ago now, a couple weeks ago, the Toronto Maple Leafs fired Mike Babcock. The Leafs felt that they were not heading in the right direction with him at the helm. This was significant because Mike Babcock has a Stanley Cup championship in his resume. 2008 with the Detroit Red Wings. He lost the Stanley Cup in 2003 with the Anaheim, well actually the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim back then. The 2009 Stanley Cup he lost when the Red Wings faced the Penguins. He won the 2010 Olympic gold medal for Team Canada. He's never won. Yeah, it was either way fantastic Olympic tournament, probably the best one that there's ever been,
no question.
and one of the best.
I still get nightmares.
Oh no, but it's still one of the best games of all time, best hockey games ever played. I think
Absolutely, no
I think it's
question.
up there. I think it's up there. So he was the head coach for Team Canada in 2010. He's never won the Jack Adams for Learner Goof here, Charles. The Jack Adams is the Coach of the Year name for award for the NHL. NHL, all their awards are named after something. It's very Canadian in that sense. And it's named after Jack Adams, who was a 9-time Stanley Cup winner. He's the only person to win a Stanley Cup as a player, a coach, and a general manager. Continuing on with Mike Babcock, He is the winningest coach in Detroit Red Wings history, surpassing Jack Adams in his Red Wings tenure. He has an honorary law degree from the University of Saskatchewan, which is so he's perfectly qualified to be on our show, and he's free now. So if you're listening, Mike Babcock, you can join us if you want. So he was the highest paid coach in the NHL when he was fired. So the Leafs threw a ton of money at him. Now they're going to be paying for a coach that's not there. So once again, the Leafs find a way to shoot themselves in the foot in some sort of way, shape, or form. Charles, if you don't know, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the most valuable franchise in hockey. They are the New York Yankees of hockey in value. They're not the Yankees of hockey in success, but in value, yes, they are the quote unquote center of the hockey universe. And the Leafs have not won a Stanley Cup since 1967, which is the current longest drought for any team at this point. Regardless if there's some expansion teams that have yet to win as well. They are the longest active streak at this point. So Toronto is desperate for a championship, which is why they went nuts for the Raptors this last season. So Mike Babcock was a significant coach. However, things have come out since his firing, and it's becoming a trend very quickly in the NHL of current players and former players coming out with stories about him, and not just him, other coaches in the NHL, other former head coaches in the NHL. Just this past, we'll stick with Mike Babcock for now, but stories are coming out of how much of a douche he's been to his players. One story from the Toronto Maple Leafs tenure. There's a coach, there's a significant player on the Maple Leafs salary cap league, so they might have to part ways with either him or Austin Matthews unless they can find a way to. I digress. Mitch Marner was a rookie, I think around 2016 or something like that, or 15. And Mike Babcock went up to him and is like, look, you're not playing so well right now. I want you to, like in a coaching type of inspiration type of thing, I want you to make a list from top to bottom of our entire roster, and I want you to list the players from hardest working to least hardest working. And he's like, oh, okay. And so Mitch Marner created the list. He put himself at the bottom of the list because Canadian players, or all hockey, pretty much every hockey player, is a humble human being who's the nicest guy on earth. There's very few a-holes in hockey. And Mitch Marner put himself at the bottom, and he put a couple of his other teammates ahead of him, like William Nyquist, and I forgot who else. So he thought that this was going to be a private thing, like this is between me and my head coach, and he's going to see my list and give me a pep talk and this type of that. You need to work harder, this and that. Mike Babcock, I think at the end of a practice, goes into the locker room and proceeds to read the list to his teammates. A completely horrible, embarrassing, just... Oh, no. Oh, don't tell me my connection went down. Are you guys back? Are you guys there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right. The connection kind of stalled out a little bit. But once again, Mitch Marner in the locker room with all of his teammates after a practice. Mike Babcock walks in with a list of players that he had from hardest working to least hardest working. He's completely embarrassed in front of his teammates. And it's a horrible... He's a rookie. It's a horrible thing to do to a guy. In any sort of fashion or sense, in any sort of organization, really. And the players got angry. But not at Marner. They got angry at Babcock. Like, how could you do this to this guy? He's a rookie. We like him. You put him in a horrible position. that he shouldn't have been in. This was a private matter that you should have kept private, and now you put it out there in the open. And it's just, that was one of the stories that came out initially when Babcock got fired. Now, players that used to play for him, that are still playing, or former players, are coming out with their stories. Mike Commodore, who won the Stanley Cup in 2006 with the Carolina Hurricanes, he was coming towards the end of his career around 2010 or something like that. For the Red Wings, I think the Red Wings had just come off losing the 09 Stanley Cup final. And Commodore was at the end of his career, but he still wanted to be valued as a player. So he went to Detroit. A lot of players went to Detroit. Mike Modano went to Detroit to have one last shot at Stanley Cup, feeling that they would be treated well as veterans. And Mike Babcock sold Commodore during free agency. Like, you're going to come here, we're going to treat you well, I'll play you, you'll be on the fourth line, but you'll get minutes, this and that. And so he signed with Detroit for that very reason. Mike Babcock, over the course of maybe 20, 25 games or so, or for pretty much half of that season, he healthy scratched Commodore. He sat him, benched him, just to sit in the press box for pretty much every game. Like, he didn't use him at all. And Commodore was furious. He wanted out. And who could blame him? He's like, he would have played someplace else, even with a bad team, had he known that he was just not going to play. So that's a story. And he went on Twitter and basically says he hates Mike Babcock. Like, he absolutely hates the guy. Like, he'd punch him on the streets if he saw him. Another story came out. Johan Franzen, who's a very likable player in the National Hockey League, was verbally assaulted on the bench during a game by Mike Babcock. That towards the end of that game, he was having a nervous breakdown that he had to go see a therapist for. Like, this guy broke him down. And so now you're like, okay, wow, Babcock does not belong in the NHL now. There's the trend of players, coaches, and that type of thing, but it's a trend that's happening nowadays with everything. People are much more conscious of the way others are treating them, harassment of all sorts of ways, shapes, and forms, and telling their stories and not being afraid to call people out. Even if it happened a while ago or it happened most recently, they're still calling people out. People in high positions, like a head coach in the National Hockey League, especially of Babcock's caliber. Well, another thing that came out was the head coach of the Calgary Flames. He resigned his position this past week because it came out that when he was the head coach of the Atlanta Thrashers, one of the players, I think his name is Akim Aliu, he's an African American or African Canadian hockey player. He said, like, look, this guy said racist things towards me when I was playing for him with the Atlanta Thrashers. The Thrashers, whether it was intentional or not, was known to have a lot of black hockey players, which are not very common, but they're there. They are in the league, like PK Subban and that type of, or Dustin Byfuglien. Anyways, now he's had a meeting with the National Hockey League to try and make them aware of these things that are happening in the league, of coaches just overstepping, utilizing their power for bad. Mark Crawford, he's currently an assistant coach with the Blackhawks, I believe he has also been called out for things that he did when he was the head coach of, I forgot which team. But it's something that's happening right now. A lot of coaches in the NHL are getting called out for their horrible mistreatment of players, emotionally. It was It was Sean Avery. And Andrew, if you know hockey, you recognize the name Sean Avery.
Definitely.
Okay, for Charles, you got to look up Sean Avery because he's
Do you want me to take this one?
I mean, you can explain to Charles who Sean Avery is, but Charles, you'd
All
be
I know is I have to hate Mark Crawford.
okay. But
Yes.
well, Sean Avery is a character. Sean Avery would be a very
about Sean Avery.
he'd be a very good wrestler. That's for sure. At least
Yes, he would.
a character in wrestling.
Definitely a heel.
Yes,
for sure.
yes.
But then I'm gonna like him because all the best guys are heels.
Then you'll
Well-
you'll like him. You can like him. Don't
he's
worry.
a-
I like him.
Wait, can I quote real quick? He interned at Vogue to be a model.
Yep.
I mean, he's got a little Marlon Brando for Christian Slater. He's a handsome douche. We can call him that. That's okay.
All right. Well, I'll put him up on the
Anyway.
screen here. But go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry.
There is a term in hockey called a goon or an enforcer. Well, goon.
That I know.
What's that?
That I know.
That you know. He is like the prototypical goon. Case in point, I think it was it was a playoff series between the New York Rangers, who he was on at the time, and the New Jersey Devils. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, Francisco.
Oh yeah.
So it's a generally accepted tactic that a guy will stand in front of the goalie to try and screen them and make it a little bit tougher for them to stop a puck.
Right.
He kind of took it to the next level.
Mm.
He found a loophole in the rules where there was nothing that said you couldn't face the goalie, like wave your arms, like act like one of those wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men. So he was doing that and just like mimicking every move of the goalie, Martin Brodeur.
Hall of Fame
And-
goalie, one of the best of all
Hall
time.
of Fame goaltender. And he exploited that loophole. And he had a thing against Martin Brodeur. Like
There's a wonderful
apparently
video.
Brodeur-
There's a wonderful video on SB Nation of beef history
Yep.
between Sean
Beef
Avery
history.
and Martin Brodeur.
So apparently Brodeur, what was it? He divorced his wife and married his wife's sister.
His
Is that-
his wife's twin sister,
Well,
or his ex-wife's twin sister, or his current wife's twin sister, whatever you want to say. It's so weird, but yes.
So he said that the new wife was his sloppy seconds and
what?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
like he is like Francisco said that all hockey players are upstanding. Actually, he is, believe it or not.
He is. He is.
He is a very good person.
But you married your sister's twin?
No,
Like-
that was the goaltender.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
He Sean Avery called out Martin Brodeur and said that the new wife, the twin sister of his first wife, it was sloppy seconds.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, he's a great person. He's very not woke, but he's socially responsible, things like that. But when it comes to hockey, like I said, he's kind of the prototypical goon and just pissed everyone off. So
So
that's kind of
You made
that's
me,
Sean Avery.
you made me a fan of you guys when I shouldn't be. Just because he's so audacious as a human being.
no,
Bad cock,
I liked him even when he was playing. I liked him when he was playing because of the antics. He had personality. A lot of hockey, and there's his fight with him with Martin Brodeur. It's just, I mean, so in that, I have to link you the video from SB Nation, but there he is blocking Brodur's sight on purpose. There, they actually made a rule. It's called the Sean Avery rule. You can't do that anymore.
And believe it or not, there is an SB Nation video about that rule.
Yes, yes, indeed. So Sean Avery has contributed much to hockey history. Anyways, Mark Crawford was his former coach. I forgot with who, but Sean Avery has said that, look, he actually physically kicked me during a game because of something that he was unhappy with me about. If physically kicked them, I forgot where, probably on the shin pads or whatever. By the way, I mean, you hit the back of the shin pads. There's nothing protecting your calves. He probably, because the coaches are back there, so he was probably kicking them in a spot that would hurt. And hockey players probably hurt all the time with all the stuff they have to do. But that came out for Mark Crawford. Now that's under investigation. I forgot what happened with that. So there's just a lot of things going on with hockey, like with regards to the coaches, that it's very refreshing in a sense. I mean, there's a lot of people online that are with the old school mentality. Oh, you guys, you're pussies or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's the description that they're using. But no, it's just, look, people are getting called out for things they should have been called out for a long time ago. And they're getting the comeuppance now. So, karma is a
B.
Yeah. That's a very much so. So they're just getting their just desserts now. All right. So that's what's going on in hockey. I hope you've learned something about a little hockey coaching history. That's for sure. You learned about Sean Avery, and you will not. And it's too bad he's retired. He would be your favorite hockey player right now. Actually,
I love a good heel. I love a good heel, man. I can see him as being the Stone Cold Steve Austin anti-authority of hockey.
Mm-hmm. All right. As far as other hockey news, I can just run these off real quick, and then we can move on to our next subject here. As far as 3 stars of the week, this past week, Nathan MacKinnon, center for the Colorado Avalanche. Once again, another fantastic 3 games. Avs are doing great. They went 3-0, and MacKinnon had 9 points, 3 goals, and 6 assists in those 3 games, including, I think he had a 7-point night to cap it off. He just went off in his last game. David Riddick for the Calgary Flames is our second star of the week. Goalie. Stopped 95 of 101 shots he faced. Went 2-0-1. 1.94 goals against average. 941 save percentage. As the Flames, after with their coach fired now, still got 5 out of 6 points in that stretch. And third, Martin Jones, another goalie for the San Jose Sharks, went 3-0, 1.98 goals against average, 935 save percentage, as the Sharks won 3 games and 4 chances and moved into 3rd place in their division. So that's it for hockey. We can move on from there if you guys want. Okay, want to talk some NFL. So, Charles, you're Ryan Tannehill, the savior of the Tennessee Titans, right?
Okay, so I think this is a great way to introduce 3 things. 1, my concern of Ryan Tannehill's success. 2, Derrick Henry giving me a middle finger as he always gets to the end zone.
Look, 3, he's scoring, man. He's scoring.
So I'm going to take this systematically, and I'll start with Derrick Henry. As a fan who actually watches his games and doesn't get stuck on his fantasy football log, because I retired from that life, Derrick Henry is having a great season from the outside in. But, and this is a big but, and I kind of did the same stats, a couple weeks ago, a couple shows ago, I guess, and the same thing applies here. The guy busts out big runs, but when you look at yards per average, the carry that you have, it's always going to be more important to me than him. I mean, obviously, I want him to have a 1,000-yard season. I want him to have 16 touchdowns. I want him to be the good guy. But as a fan, why does it matter? And also leading to Ryan Tannehill, this is a contract year. You need to make a decision about what you're going to do and how you're going to spend the money. We are thankfully, built with a lot of blue-collar guys, so we don't have the superstars to pay superstar money, but there's going to be someone who coaxes us in to paying them a lot of cash. Do I think it's Tannehill, or do I think it's Derrick Henry? Well, I think it'd be Derrick Henry. And here's my policy on running backs. And I know this sounds weird because we spent all last offseason me defending Le'Veon Bell, and now when I have a young fellow who wants to get paid, I'm going to be like, don't do it, please. Derrick Henry's season is 1,100 yards so far, 11 touchdowns, 4.9 yards a carry. That's a high average of yards per carry, but a lot of it comes from those broken tackles that he has. He has multiple tackles, that are going for big runs of more than 20. So that kind of inflates the stats a little bit because I remember when I did the stats last time, he was at 3.7 yards a carry. So if we're at 3.7 yards a carry and he's coming in now at a 4.9, when I did that stats on the show, it was probably around, I don't know what we're in, week 13, 11, something of that nature here. I can't do math because I am not a smart guy. 75, so week 12. I think that's around week 8 when he did it, week 7. So things have kind of broken off, and it's concerning because you want to spend your money judiciously. However, it's not as if we're going to give Corey Davis mega money. It's not like we're going to give a lot of guys on the offensive line who are up for the year like Taylor Wan and Jack Conklin a lot of money. Smith decided to say, hey, instead of trying to maximize this quarterback, let me just maximize each player that I have running this offense. Because here's the thing that we forget about offensive coordinators. It's you are responsible to maximizing the potential and overseeing the plays for all the players on there. If you're built to be a zone running team, you got to make zone running plays. If you're built to be a run pass option kind of thing, you have to do that. If you're built to be a super, bowl contender these days, you need quick offense. I think Arthur Smith didn't know what he was doing with Marcus Mariota because, hey, I think Ryan Tannehill got a very conservative playbook. Every now and then it's just throw deep when you got a guy open.
I mean, with Derrick Henry, he actually has a running back that can score and everything like that. I mean, he's got some weapons that he didn't have in Miami. So, and they probably, I mean, he's, and you're right. The Titans have utilized Tannehill the way you probably should utilize him. He's an average quarterback, and he can manage the game. And use him that way. He's not going to be... he's not a superstar quarterback, so you can't use him that way. The Dolphins tried. They tried. It's just not the way he is. Just not the way it is.
History's on our side because if we're trying to be Super Bowl contenders, which leads me to the third part, Fred rank, we're listed as being...
yes. Let me post that.
Yeah, that surprises me. So what I looked at for looking at wild card is that we get there, but also Pittsburgh comes in. I think that's inaccurate. I think Duck Hodges is doing a great thing as being an undrafted or a fifth-round guy who's coming in, but I think they're going to lose a lot of steam because James Conner's not healthy, and they benefit from a weaker schedule. But if we were to make it, history can be on our side to have at least to win Super Bowl rings with slightly above average quarterbacks. Because let's take a little peek, gentlemen. Nick Foles ain't doing so hot in Jacksonville. Not really his kind of fault, because that's like garbage can right there, or trash. It's Trashinville over there.
Yeah.
He was able to win the Super Bowl with the Eagles because they put the right players around him. Let's go a little bit old school. 2003 Buccaneers, it was Brad Johnson. And then you have the Ravens first year with Trent Dilfer. And then you have anybody who's not named Tom Brady leading into it. Joe Flacco himself, who was playing out a contract. He just didn't turn the ball over. If you have a strong defense, strong offensive line, strong running game, because that's what Tampa had, that is what Ravens had when they won him back. Like I would say, I'll give it to Flacco on the 2011 one, but I'll give it to them on 2001. It was them in the defense. And then even going into, I'll say Nick did the job done for the Eagles because that running game was just J.A.J. who got traded in. But there is a bit of potential. Can you beat things, though? Because I look at this team, I say, I was going to call them a pretender for at least being a threat in the playoffs, but then we beat who? The Chiefs. And that kind of changed. The Patriots are weak. Texans are kind of legitimate, but we played them twice. So here's the thing. I don't know if we're getting for Walker. We might be in contention for, say with me now, the AFC South. I mean, I think, we know Jacksonville's out of the race here, in my opinion. Indianapolis is kind of falling from earth because there's too many injuries. Jacoby Brissett can only do so much. They don't have a lot. Eric Ebron's gone. T.Y. Hilton's hurt. Parrish Campbell hasn't really jumped into what he was supposed to be coming out of Ohio State as a third-round draft pick, but that's life. pick better, draft better. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and you still have your two matchups against them.
Exactly. And here's the thing: Houston has been beatable. They just put the whooping on New England, but that's because New England's just not as good as they are. And that's a product of not drafting the wide receivers or signing dudes. It was one of those things where you ask yourself, I know he's insane, but would you be in this position to be an anemic offense? He's so anemic that the Patriots are getting prescribed iron pills from Robert Kraft's doctors. That's how anemic they are on offense. And you ask yourself, could you even had a fighting chance if you kept Antonio Brown? I know he's a headache, but we'll see. Is a question. Granted, that's just me being kind of like salacious, or even trading away Josh Gordon. I mean, he's not doing anything in Seattle, but we all know the reason why he was picked up at Seattle for playoffs, not for regular season. He's going to learn the playbook, and then he's going to shine out and ball out when he's lined up with DeMontre Moore.
Now the Patriots can pop back into this picture if they can just re-sign Antonio Brown, because he is begging to get back on the Patriots.
Get him on a veteran minimum.
If you see his social media stuff, he is basically writing love letters to the Patriots at this point.
He's the guy that cheated on his girlfriend with his sister and married her and got sloppy seconds. That's for you, Sean Avery. You're my new best friend.
Oh boy, I am so glad we taught you about him. All right, let's see other NFL stuff. The New York Jets. Oh gosh, they are the gift that keeps on giving. What a blessed holiday season. The New York Jets, the first team ever to lose to two teams that were 0-7 or worse. Wow. Oh boy. Slather me in that, please. Adam Gase, you still have a job. He fails forward. He just fails forward. Wow. The Cincinnati Bengals finally win a game. You would think we'd all rejoice from that, because this tank battle should have been much tighter, but lo and behold, the Miami Dolphins defeat the Philadelphia Frauds, the football version of them, not the basketball or baseball or hockey version of the Philadelphia Frauds. The Eagles lost that game, and I saw that whole game. I was in disbelief at first, but then say what you will about tanking, and yes, I do hope the Dolphins do get the number one pick, but at this point, I don't see it. I really don't see it. They could potentially, because they have the Jets, the Giants, and the Bengals in their next three matchups, the Dolphins could end up with 6 to 7 victories, which is crazy. But hopefully that's a testament to Brian Flores' coaching, and because this group should not be winning against the Eagles of all teams. But they did. The Dolphins did. So that happened. Washington beat the Carolina Panthers, and of course, Ron Rivera was finally fired. That was
so wrong.
You really? You think it was wrong? Okay.
Yeah, fire him. Sure, let the man finish out his season, though.
I mean, at this point, I don't know why the Panthers are gonna lose. You might as well. If you get better your draft position,
I can tell you why.
Why?
Daryl Tapper is in love with Norv Turner. Even though he put Perry Fuel, former, I think he was a interim coach for the Giants, not for the Giants, but also for Miami too, if memory serves right, or at least he was on Miami's defense.
It doesn't make sense, because Carolina is 4 games back in the tank race. They would have the 14th pick right now. So
let's talk about this, because this is my favorite segment of any kind of Sports Goofs moment. It's called Conspiracy Time with Charles. And let's think about it. Cam Newton is a inaccurate but athletic mobile quarterback. He is also he was a 2015 MVP, led you to the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. The whole thing about him was his mechanics and accuracy. We got to get him the right coordinator. So they had what's his face, because of course I can't remember their original offensive coordinator, but he was the son of a legendary coach. Now it'll come back to me. I believe he was a U-man, but hey, my brain doesn't want to work today because it's Wednesday and I have a crazy day. But whatever, it'll come back to me when we're at the show, and I'm going to yell at it. I'm going to scream like you scream when there's no mashed potatoes. But then they say, how can we make it better? Let's get Norv Turner. The man known for the West Coast offense. It's about rhythm and timing and doesn't believe in running anything at all outside the pocket with a mobile quarterback. The man who wasted away part of the youth of and the greatness of Philip Rivers in San Diego when they were the Chargers. It couldn't get anything done. He made like 1 or 2 playoff appearances. The man who was a head coach in Washington and didn't do anything. The man who's just told to be a great offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, then he quit because you're punk. And all this other stuff that kind of came in, and now he's here. Why? Because Daryl Tepper, because he said in his whole, agreement about why, or press statement about why he released Ron Rivera, I want a young offensive minded guy. So he's pulling the whole I want on Sean. He's looking at what Sean McVay is doing. Trash. They're not going to make the playoffs, I think. They regressed. And they crashed because he was probably too not ripe enough yet to bring in, because he wasn't even calling plays. He came from the McVay coaching tree. Look, I like Sean McVay like anybody else because he took a very destitute franchise that was suffering from a former Tennessee Titans coach, Jeff Fisher's sway, and made them respectable. But, Sean McVay ain't no Bill Parcells, or he isn't a Bill Belichick to say, I got the coach for you. So calm the clams there, boys. Calm the clams. Instead, Daryl Tepper was putting out the feeders, but really what he's saying is like, let me get this offensive coordinator, quotation marks, who is a coach who I can have him coach the next 4 games, so to see if he can maximize a pocket pressure, quarterback like Kyle Allen, because I want to draft another guy who's similar, Justin Herbert, in that kind of field, and give him a chance to see if he can maximize Christian McCaffrey, can maximize the wide receivers that they can't get anything out of, DJ Moore, and then the other guy, I don't remember his name, irrelevant to me, Curtis Samuel and a few other dudes, and then Greg Olson. See if we can have him get a second chance. Maybe he just got a rough shot in San Diego with a very irritable fan base. We were talking about the same, GM at that time who fired Marty Schottenheimer after a 14-2 season.
Yeah.
Let's give him a chance. I think it's an audition. I think if they break even, because what was the whole thing that he was saying? Tepper, I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. Whoa, man. You tell me if it's a coach who took you for 76 wins, 63 losses, 1 tie, 3 NFC Souths titles, 2 Coach of the Years, and then a Super Bowl appearance, and they only lost to a very, lucky Peyton Manning. Granted, I was happy the Sheriff got his title at the end the second time, but that's the point. Riverboat Ron, everybody, like Washington is salivating on the prospect that, you fire him. Jacksonville is salivating because they're going to fire Doug Marrone, I'm almost certain. There's both New York.
No, he's going to get a job. He's going to get a job, obviously. Yeah, we're part of that coaching carousel.
So I think he's saying, you know what? Because his whole thing is, I'm going to fire him to be on this belief of getting a head start coaching. Well, I think you were already searching for dudes at the beginning of the season. You just didn't want to take into account that your GM Marty Herney, who you call a great college scout, couldn't draft a damn wide receiver as a difference maker to save your life. In addition, with further ado, whatever fancy change that you want to go into, also putting a lot of money in dude who can't freaking play but put big contracts in, and then we have Cam who's injured but yet we're at least winning games with Kyle Allen. It's a miracle. I'm almost certain that this man Riverboat Ron Rivera can win a damn game with Caleb Haney. That's a throwback.
Oh boy. We didn't even get to that segment. Okay. Gosh. Yeah, man, that was, oh boy, way to go back, man. Sheesh.
It's respect. Respect to Ron Rivera.
All right. Let's see. 153 now. Let me just pop off some NBA stuff, and once again, thank you to Freddie for sharing with us his Fred rank there, as he's off to do, and he has the Tennessee Titans as a wild card team, the Vikings as a wild card team, Pittsburgh wild card. He has the Cowboys winning the NFC East, and really, God, man, dear Lord, the Eagles blew a perfect opportunity to take advantage there. Yeah, they just shot themselves in the foot after that. They should not have let the Dolphins go in that game. And kudos on the Dolphins once again. I'm happy for them. And look, as far as the tanking is concerned, as soon as the Dolphins right now are lovable losers. They are a lovable losing team. Like, I honestly am enjoying this team more than I had during the Ryan Tannehill era, because I knew they were going to disappoint me. in the end in a horrifying fashion way back when in that era. But here I knew from the get-go, so everything else is a pleasant surprise, and I'm happy with it. All right, I'm doing it plenty of times with the Marlins. Dolphins are doing it right now, and of course he's got the Ravens at number one because they should be number one. They are the Super Bowl favorite at this point. I think Caesars changed their prediction to have them. And it looks like we'll get another Baltimore-San Francisco final, possibly. We don't know. Anyways, NBA talk. Just want to pop these off real quick. Giannis Antetokounmpo, player of the month, player of the week this past week, but definitely player of the month as the Bucks are going off right now. When they only have one home loss, and it was to the Miami Heat, who also yep, and they beat the Raptors last night. They're currently playing against the Celtics on a back-to-back right now. So the Heat are doing fantastic things. I was at a game last week actually, for a good time when the team is good. That's for sure. The Heat right now are losing big time to the Celtics, but once again, second night of back-to-back. And for the Western Conference, player of the week, Charles, Carmelo Anthony.
Ooh.
Yes, Carmelo Anthony, player of the week for the Western Conference, as the Portland Trailblazers went 3-0 during that week. Melo averaging 22.3 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, and I didn't get his assists numbers because he probably doesn't have any. But anyways, look, the guy's been out of basketball for what? Year and a half?
Season and a half.
Yeah. Hey, he's still too. Yeah, he's still got it. The Blazers are desperate because Hassan Whiteside is not working out for them.
Chuckle.
And to think Goran Dragic could have been the one that was dealt. Oh, thank the Lord. Thank mashed potatoes that he did not get traded to Portland, because man, gosh, Hassan Whiteside on this squad, no way. Jimmy Butler would have stuffed that Nintendo Switch down his throat. Sheesh. He's a Yoshi main, by the way. Ugh. All right, so that's NBA talk. We'll move on. Charles, we've had wrestling on the screen for pretty much the entire episode, and we talked a little XFL, but let's get to the main event. Let's head off to the cage to close out, as we often do.
As I always say, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your weekly TrueFlex, The Cage with Charles. Disclaimer, wrestling is scripted, not fake. It is a dance. It is a ballet. It is a beautiful percussions of music and words and violence, stage violence, about the needs for championships, the love of a woman, the love of a man, the thirst to prove yourself, the story of an underdog, or brand supremacy. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. When we say brand supremacy, we're not even just talking about the competition that's out there, which is WWE, AEW, and New Japan, because those are my big three. We're talking about brand supremacy within the brands themselves, because a couple weeks ago, it was Survivor Series, gentlemen. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all battling each other to prove who's really the top brand in the WWE. NXT won out, of course, because why? They're feuding with AEW on Wednesday nights, going on right now. AEW's on TNT.
Yes.
WWE NXT is on USA. Watch what you want. They're both kind of good. I like NXT more. Dynamite's doing what it can. They need to establish the mid-card. We'll talk about that a different day, a different time. Some highlights for the Survivor Series stuff. Great matches. New Day versus the Viking Raiders versus Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish limping, dying, try and survive, put it on effort, because why? The night before was War Games, and bruz, it was great, because we're going to start with War Games. So there was the NXT pay-per-view on Saturday before we got the WWE main pay-per-view. The main event, War Games. 2 rings, 1 big steel cage, anything goes.
Ooh.
Guys come and go when time comes in. The final scene, Francisco, put it on the screen right now if you can. Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole. They're about probably 25 feet up on top of the cage. Adam Cole's around the body of Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa drops him airy through the 2 tables. I was both scared and amazed, probably a little aroused at the same time because it was a great way to solidify and stamp the going feud forward, because you're gonna get yourself a little Adam Cole and Bebe and Tommaso Ciampa feud down the line for the NXT Championship. But back to Survivor Series, because we're touching the points here. That triple threat match was great. Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, another great match. You even had titles that were on the line. Adam Cole, after basically dying the night before, went against Pete Dunne, an excellent match where Pete Dunne went for his finisher, the bitter end. They got reversed into a Panama Sunrise to a last shot. I need new pants, man. Pepper needs a new pair of shorts. Bellissimo. That was such a good match.
Okay, I'm seeing it here on the screen here. Dear Lord. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is death-defying.
Oh,
dear Lord. Oh my.
It was something. It was something. Me, I was just dead. I was like the Randy Marsh meme, that you see in there with the ectoplasm. I was just taking care of, boys. It was a perfect calculation of my soul coming out of me. And then, back to Survivor Series. The men's Survivor Series match was good. The women's wasn't bad. There was some good little play arounds. Asuka betraying Charlotte. The women, there was a weird wonky booking at the ending, but I digress. Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio, WWE Championship, pretty good. Ray's son Dominic was in there. They did a double 619 and frog splashes, and Brock still won. But it's just great when Brock's invested. The bummer of the match, Shayna, Becky, and Bayley. Wasn't crazy about it because Shayna Baszler, good outside the ring promo and attitude. Not really my kind of favorite person. The Survivor Series, I liked it. Of course, The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan. Fiend won, but it was the best match I think The Fiend has had. Instead of being projected as his supervillain, in this match with Daniel Bryan, which was a basic match, he was portrayed as a horror movie villain. I think that's how you have to do it. Over on AEW, they're kind of taking their sweet time to kind of get the ball rolling here. You have Chris Jericho with a little bit above it. It looks like his new feud's going to be with Jon Moxley, formerly known as the former Dean Ambrose. And I think this might be the guy who finally takes that belt from Jericho, because Jericho's been the AEW championship since he won it at, I think it was Double or Nothing. Please don't yell at me, people who like AEW. I don't remember all these pay-per-views. It's too much. Over in New Japan, they're doing the tag team tournament to crown the number one contender at Wrestle Kingdom, which is their former Mania, in January against the Guerrillas of Destiny. So right now it's Evil and Sonata, but then they might do Davey Boy Smith's kid and what's his name, Juice Robinson as contenders. I don't know. Right now it's kind of a quiet time for New Japan, but once they get the build going for Wrestle Kingdom, I'm a little bit attentive because that Kota Ibushi probably gonna knock off Kazuchika Okada. But furthermore, gentlemen, to put off aside from Tommaso Ciampa basically murdering Adam Cole, we still have the smut that I love, because wrestling's also a soap opera, and Bobby Lashley, Lana, and Rusev is still going on. I think they're going to try to hold on as long as they can, guys, because guess what? TLC's in December. It's tables, ladders, and chairs, which means there's going to be a violent match. I think we need to have Bobby Lashley and Lana basically dealing stuff with Rusev, because it's weird, they got the soap opera, they got the restraining order on Rusev, but then he broke it, and then Lana and Bobby got arrested, and I'm just like, this is the greatest thing ever. Me and my friend Derek, we have a new nickname for Bobby Lashley. He's Lashington Steel. For anybody else who knows that name, with the name Lexington Steel, you'll get the idea of it. But it's been a good month of wrestling. It's been a good month of everything, and I'm enjoying it, guys, and that's all I got for you today.
Oh boy. All right. Wow.
Action-packed.
Yes, indeed.
Action-packed.
Oh, okay, guys. I think we can end it on this. We didn't get to our smaller segments because we were very much entranced in Andrew's recount of the FIU Miami game, and of course the NHL coaching scandals that are out there. And of course Thanksgiving, because we started off with Thanksgiving. But next week, I hope we can. We'll probably primarily focus on college football, because stuff's about to go down, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
And we should have some special guests next week.
Okay, hopefully we can have some other people on the panel to discuss as we'll head into the when is the bowl determination?
Final selections are Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
or final rankings are Sunday. usually it gets all resolved by Sunday. Because they need to see which teams are going to be in the big bowls, and then after that, it's kind of just a kind of like a picking match who can get to whom first.
Okay, all right, and it's going to be a lot of fun when we get to that, and hopefully we'll have a nice matchup for the good old was it Tony the Tiger Bowl now out in El Paso?
It's the Frosted Flake Sun Bowl.
Oh, it was not the Tony the Tiger Bowl no more?